Rosemary Lee. I'm here to do Meltdown at the Panorama Festival with about 32 men from Rio dancing. Very simple concept that people don't need to remember, so they don't need to worry about remembering the steps. But instead, although it's very, very simple, they learn a lot from doing the Meltdown because it's very much about mind and body and control and sensing the movement that you're doing every second of it. So it's quite intense. So although it's simple on one level, it's very complex in another, and I like being able to offer that opportunity for people. And so it's the first time, though, it's toured. It hasn't toured before. This is its first time abroad.
And how was the experience of doing the workshop with people abroad and the concept?
It's been fascinating for me. It's been a real learning experience about how to translate something that's actually very difficult to talk about in English. To find the simplest way of describing it is really good practice for me and Henny, who's with me, my assistant. And people have been so friendly. That's what I've really noticed, how friendly and how the people that have come have been very committed to it and given me a lot of their time and their energy, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's a really fascinating park. I've never seen a park like it. It's so exotic, tropical, with these huge trees and the birds and the peacocks and the funny little animals running around. So it feels like we're in the middle of a sort of paradise, and then all around the outside of it is kind of chaotic urban life, quite dirty, quite run down sometimes, but quite historic. And I love that combination. I find it quite extraordinary. It feels like we're drawn to the very center of the park. So.
And because of the time you're doing, like in the middle of the day or in the middle of the afternoon, the people are crossing and
I hope so. And seeing it and wondering about it. I'm hoping that passers-by remember it when they pass again. They think they remember that's where it happened. But
But I remember watching the videos that you made back in UK, and the people really stopped to watch all the process going on, and here it's quite different.
A little bit different. I think people are not quite sure whether to stop or not. Yeah, I can feel that. But what's good about Meltdown is that even if just one or two people really see it for the whole thing, you still get something from seeing a short amount of it as well, I hope, anyway. So yes, it feels a little bit like it's harder to draw people in here, but that might be because they're not used to seeing something like that in a park. So it's good step to make. Yeah.
And after this experience, you're planning on touring with the piece?
I might do. It's a good practice to see whether it works. So whether it works to tour like this. In London, we made it over 8 weeks, so we met once a week. So it's a very different experience for the participants. Here it's very intense because it's 8 days, meeting once a day to practice it. So I needed to see how that affects them. I think it works, but it's quite intense. So maybe in Europe I might try it. What's difficult was to find a bell. We couldn't find a bell in Rio. So now we have a gong. But I think it works. It's rather beautiful sound. I think it works for the environment. Well, the bell as a symbol, a huge bell, has many different meanings. It's iconic. So in England, I think it represents many things like warning, death, birth, marriage, calling people, gathering people. And I love sounds that are about calling you. So when we couldn't find a bell, I had to think what else would call, but also what else is resonant, not percussive. It has to have a resonance to it so that it fills the air a little bit, because percussion wouldn't work at all because of the kind of suspension of the Meltdown. So the gong does very well. Yeah. It's a good second option.